All right, TGSS 2016. We're over in the Goyder Pavilion on track 2, the Glennis Nunchaka track. My name is Bob de Quickly. We're about to see the start of this next game between Melbourne Northside Rollers and Sydney Roller Derby League. That's the Death Stars versus the Assassins.
The Sydney Roller Derby League.
Melbourne Northside Rollers in the green today, and in the black, Sydney Roller Derby League Assassins. Quick run through before we get underway in the skating. So the Northside Rollers today are Baby Biddy, Suspender, Pirate Blaze, Malice, Sunny Onslaught, Oddsock Fitz, Bella Bomber, Liz Williams, Millie, Slander, Aka Armoff, Bioweapon, Missy Bowler and KO. And lining up for the Assassins, Chewy, Power Pout, Peggy Spew, Moody Bitch, Carnivore, Low Blow Oreo, Tricks and Stones, Levi Strides, Juicy Vengeance, Boss Wedden, Slayer Kinney, Blocky Balboa, Minky and Brat Pitt.
Let's give it up for Sydney.
Seconds away from the start of this game, a nice sized crowd has shown up here on track 2 right now. And it's all starting to shake down towards the quarterfinals now as we get to the end of the pool play.
Is this your first one streaming? Yes.
Lining up at the moment, Moody Bitch number 216 for the Assassins and 31 Pirate Blaze for the Northside Rollers. And it's Moody Bitch who gets a spot around on the outside first, picks up lead jammer for the first jam in this game.
Really solid defense by Sydney.
Piretta just going for a hit on Moody Bitch as she makes her way through the pack again, having to yield to this triangular formation of the Assassins. If the Assassins have had a strength at all this weekend, it's been in breaking up the defensive structures of their opposing teams and really preventing them from reforming. So just another 5-point scoring pass for Moody Bitch there now. She's got 10 on the board already. A multiplayer block being issued in the pack there somewhere. That looks like Carnivore heading off to the penalty box for a multiplayer block. So 4 more added for the Assassins on that one. So after the first jam, they're 14 out in front and they've managed to prevent the Death Stars from scoring.
1-1.
Next up behind the line, Miss Millie, number 78 for the Death Stars, and number 11, Power Pout for the Assassins. Millie lining up on the inside. She'll be looking to get around her wall and get towards the middle of the track. Power Pout just going the fake as she goes on by. Millie's stepped on the line and picked up a cut on the inside of turn 1. Power Pout will have the power jam and his lead jammer. And Millie wasting no time in getting around to the penalty box. Slander also joining her there. The Death Stars defence pushes out on the outside. Biddy going for the hit to the outside of turn 2. Unable to connect and
Zooming through without really breaking.
Power Pout picking up another scoring pass. And again we see the Assassins defenders, Slayer Kinney coming up, breaking up the defensive formations of the Death Stars. Power Pout sailing on through for another 5. Miss Millie standing in the penalty box now, ready to return to the track. The big O coming on up through again. Biddy, the last line of defence at the front. Can't connect. 5 more on the board for the Sydney Roller Derby League Assassins. Millie back on track, pushing up the middle. She's got some strength on her side, getting some offensive help from Bioweapon. And she's allowed to slip through now. That's an initial for Millie. Power Pout's going to call it off and deny the Death Stars any points on the board. Northside Rollers yet to score in this game. The Assassins up to 33 now. Geelong Roller Derby League, the other team in this pool, both defeated by these teams. The Assassins defeating them 267 to 106 yesterday, and just 2 points in the game that Northside defeated Geelong yesterday as well. So we're going to see Liz Williams lining up, number 73 for the Northside Rollers, and number 88, Minky, for the Assassins. Watching her jam yesterday, she's able to brute strength her way through a lot of these defensive walls. This time it's up the inside.
Thank you, Alex.
Alex Van Dorn supermaning across the infield there on this polished concrete as he loses his feet on the infield, but he's still managed to call the lead jammer. Suspender off to the penalty box here as well. Minky escaping again. That's a scoring pass for her. That's 5 in the air. Liz Williams clear of the pack now. And again, Northside Rollers denied a score for the third jam in a row.
These very lovely Pirata Blaze takes the line.
Starting lineup again, Pirata Blaze and Moody Bitch jamming for their respective teams. One blocker in the bin for the Northside Rollers. And all the walls up on the pivot line. And it's a running start. Both of these jammers take towards the defensive walls. Moody Bitch looking for a way on the outside. Up on the toe stops against the line. Hard up against it. She steps on through. Pirata Blaze battling away at the front here. A couple to get past Peggy Spew. And Slayer Kinney holding firm there. Not willing to let her gain an inch on here. Baby Biddy heading off to the penalty box just as Suspender is released. Moody Bitch, meanwhile, has picked up 5 points. Peggy Spew going to head off to the penalty box here as well. Again, we see Moody Bitch up on the toe stops around the outside line, able to get past these defenders at the front. But look at the O from the Assassins. Absolutely their strength here this weekend. Just not allowing those defensive shapes to reform. And a star pass now. Bioweapon has the star. It's on her head. And she's hot on the heels of Moody Bitch approaching this pack. Just calling it off before she hits the wall. Saves some points there. 4 jams down. Still 0 points on the board for the Northside Rollers. Power Pout and Miss Millie going to be lining up again. Power Pout just signalling to her defenders where she would like them to be. And it's on the pivot line, she says. Thanks very much. Miss Millie hard up against the outside line. A nice low stance. Power Pout crouching on her. This time Millie steps around the outside and hard up into the middle of that defensive triangle at the front there for the Assassins. She bounces off it. Has to pick herself up and re-enter that triangular fray. And a big hit to the inside there. That's KO on Power Pout, forcing her to yield back down towards the pivot line. It's a slow pack, but Power Pout manages to get across the inside now and picks up lead jammer. Millie still contained at the back, being held by one at the moment. Up against the inside, she puts a foot on the infield, able to get back in without penalty. An illegal procedure there called on someone. 0-5, that's Chewy for the Assassins heading off to the penalty box right here. So 4 more on the board for the Assassins. They're up to 56 now. And 5 jams down without score for the Melbourne Northside Rollers.
Sydney still down 1 blocker. Northside start with the lineup.
So Chewy still in the bin for the Assassins. So there are 3 blockers in front of the line here. Full lineup for Northside. Liz Williams jamming for Northside. She's up against the outside, pushed off by Minky, the opposing jammer for the Assassins. And that strength of Minky pushing up the inside there. But Bioweapon able to take her back down to where she had to start from. Liz Williams still not any progress past these Assassins defenders. And Minky barges on through, picks up lead jammer. Liz Williams just taken to the back here. She's got the star off her head, hands it off to Bioweapon. Bioweapon receiving the star one more time. Stretches it on over her helmet. She's been going to take off here and try and pick up. Minky's going to be pushed to the inside, picking up 3 points and calling the jam off. 8 minutes down in this game so far, the first half of this last of the pool play for these teams. And the Sydney Assassins have 59 unanswered points. Back to the starting lineup, Moody Bitch and Pirata Blaze. The jam is whistled on. Pirata looking for a way up the middle, getting some assistance from Akar Armoff on the outside. KO closed down the inside line for Moody Bitch, but she's up on the outside, on the footsteps around the outside tape again. And that gets her through for lead jammer one more time. Bella Bomber, the Northside pivot, is heading off to the penalty box here. That's the Spank Alley penalty box on track 2. Pirate Blaze manages to get past on the outside now. That's an initial pass. Moody Bitch is amongst the pack and scoring. KO just the last one to get past at the front. 4 more added for Moody Bitch. She's looking at where the opposing jammer is and she's waiting for Pirate Blaze to close on the Assassin's wall. Watching closely, and she's going to call it off there. Pirate Blaze picks up 3 points. That's the first points on the board for the Northside Rollers Death Stars.
Very, very fierce.
So it took them 7 jams to get those 3 points on the board, but they're off the mark now. We're going to see the match up behind the jammer line one more time. Miss Millie and Power Pout.
7-8 Millie lines up against 1-1 Power Pout.
1 each in the penalty box, so triangular formations for both of these jammers to get past. Millie looks for the inside, but then heads down the middle. Power Pout across the inside of Slander and picks up a cut track penalty. So Millie just has these blockers to get past, getting heaps of offensive help at the moment from Baby Biddy and Sunny Onslaught. Still struggling to get past these defenders though, and a cutting the track penalty now given to Miss Millie as well. She'll race around to the penalty box. Power Pout yet to be released.
Millie going for a quick sit.
Chewy, the blocker, just making her way back onto the track. Millie sits down in the Spank Alley penalty box. Power Pout yet to be released. Taking her time to get up. Makes her way back onto the track now. And you can see on screen the Assassins getting in the middle of that defensive shape, not letting the defensive walls reform and allowing their jammer to step on through.
Sydney opening up the inside line for Power Pout. There will be no...
So that is an official pass for Power Pout. She jumps across the back of the defenders and steps on through her own wall, picks up all 5. Miss Millie not yet back from the bin. She is on track now. Slander will be heading off to the penalty box for the Death Stars. Miss Millie knocked to the inside. That's Chewy taking her on back. And Slayer Kinney bridging out there, making go back that little bit extra further. Sunny Onslaught trying to provide some offensive support there. Slayer Kinney will head to the penalty box. Millie's through the pack. Neither jammer is lead jammer. 25 seconds left to go, or 20 seconds left to play out in this jam. Millie's going to be trying to get up amongst the points here. Assisted through on the inside. Bash off to the inside of the track. Millie has to recycle back over the jammer line. No pack is called. Power Pout amongst the points again. Millie has to watch those inside lines. Watch this doesn't get burnt by the hot lava. Adds a couple of points at the end there, so 3 more points added to the Death Stars total. Takes them to 6. The Assassins way out in front on 82.
6 points.
18 and a quarter minutes left to play out in this first half. Just got some communication happening between the refs and the officials. Another lineup we've seen a few times already. Liz Williams, 73, and 88, Minky. Slayer Kinney, the only player in the Spank Alley penalty box here at the moment on track 2. Minky pushes to the outside. Liz Williams on the outside now, able to keep those toes inside the tape. And Williams across the inside. She's the lead jammer. First time they've had that this game, the Northside Rollers, Death Stars. Minky not far behind. It's about a quarter of a track. The Death Stars racing back to try and reform their defence now. But unable to form the defensive wall. The Assassins just breaking up those shapes.
2 points to Northside.
2 points for Northside. Liz Williams adds a couple and manages to keep the Assassins scoreless in that jam. Mr. Spew, the alternate for the Assassins, just popped in for a quick chat with Roger Jamjet.
Well, we have 3-1 Pirate Blaze and 2-1-6 Moody Bitch on the line. That's Pirate Blaze for Northside, Moody Bitch for Sydney.
We're back underway. Pirate Blaze and Moody Bitch, the jammers, trying to do the work at the moment. Spank Alley penalty box is free and clear of skaters.
Great job on the inside line for Northside.
Most that outside toe stop work again gets Moody Bitch through. The players pass down on the far side of the track. Pirate Blaze are wrapped up effectively at the moment. Baby Biddy coming around the front to try and catch Moody Bitch as she comes through. Pirate Blaze is out now. We see the Death Stars players swarming around in front. Slander just taken out and knocked out of the equation by Peggy Spew at the front. The Jam's called off, 5 added to the Assassins, and 0 more for the Death Stars. Both these teams put in the same jamming lineups each time. Miss Millie and Power Pout will be fighting their way through for this one again. Both walls going for a 3 and 1. Both jammers starting from a nice low position. Power Pout having to get around her own wall and engage the Death Stars defence at the front. Getting some help now of Blocky Balboa going in and giving a bit of a wipe onto that Death Stars wall, allowing her to break that formation up and get through. But Millie close behind. It's going to be a jammer race.
I do apologise, Millie. It's Millie coming through.
Akaramoff and Slander just forming at the front. Going to... About to take a hit from Blocky Balboa. And Power Power just letting Jammer Ref know that she was calling it off.
On 87, Melbourne Northside Rollers on 8 with 15 minutes left of this half.
And Death Stars captain Suspender just having a quick word with the head ref Roger James yet as well. Not happy about something that was happening in the pack. Just asking him if maybe he could keep an eye out for that sort of thing. That'd be great. Still no players in the penalty box here. Liz Williams and Minky, the jammers, doing the work at the moment. Minky round the outside, taken down. There'll be a low block issued there on someone. Minky is out first. She's the lead jammer. Yeah, and Bioweapon now being sent off for that low block. Minky casually skates back in towards the back of this pack. The offensive strength of these Assassins blockers. Not quite enough to get her through this time. A couple left to get past at the front. Slander and Sunny Onslaught. Baby Biddy joining them at the front. She rolls off their hits and gets on through for another 5 points. Picking up the jammer lap point in there as well. Liz Williams just managing to keep her footing outside the track then. But Peggy Spew is heading off for a multiplayer block. Liz Williams able to take advantage of that slightly reduced wall at the front there to get through, but it's only an initial for her. Minky, meantime, striding on through this pack, racking up the points as she does so. And she's going to call that one off now. 3 more added by Minky at the end. Then another big 0 for the Northside Rollers. So with that one, the Assassins now out on 95. Northside Rollers still on 8 points.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. To get through.
It's been really strategic. We're seeing the Assassins really using their blocking strength to break up the defensive shapes of the Death Stars and not allowing them to form a cohesive defence against their jammers, who are just able to complete lap after lap. Moody Bitch again. This time she keeps away from the outside tape. She pushes on up through the middle. Pirate Blaze struggling to get through this wall again. Moody Bitch back in amongst the scoring. Now she's stepping past these last defenders as Bella Bomber at the front, chased down by KO, bridged out and picks up the 5. The jammer point was still available with Pirate Blaze still amongst the pack. Blocky Balboa just trying to force a track cut on Pirate Blaze just as she comes back in on the outside on the far straight. But Moody is on through again, 5 more. Now we see the Death Stars defenders trying to get on round, and we've had a sneaky star pass off to Bella Bomber. She busts out of the pack at the front, and Pirate Blaze able to join the blocking formation at the front. Just Suspender at the front here, but she takes that hit. Moody Bitch calling it off on the inside as she takes that hit. 14 points added to the Assassins total after that one, and they hit the 100-point mark. 109 Northside Rollers stuck on 8. This is track 2, the Glynis Nunchucker track in the Goiter Pavilion at the Adelaide Showgrounds. Adelaide Showgrounds, the major sponsor of this tournament, and they do have a bid in for the 2017 WFTDA Women's Roller Derby World Cup. So get on that, and good luck to you guys. Hope you get, hope you win that. Spank Alley are the sponsors of the penalty box here on track 2, the official armband supplier of TGSS. They are set up right here on site, doing custom armbands, selling Hellbent covers, compression pants, lots of cool stuff. They also have the Turn Left clothing range and the Chicks in Bowls merch available through Spank Alley now.
Yeah, Spank Alley.
So if you're here, hit them up, go say hi. If you're not here, message someone who is. They can pick you up some of the awesome gear. Looks like a clean penalty box here at the moment. Miss Millie, the jammer for the Northside Rollers. Power Pout, number 11 on the inside. Just a triangular defence up against the jammer line for the Assassins. And Slayer Kinney just forming the bridge there, but that three wall able to contain Miss Millie at the moment. Power Pout at the front of the pack. The Death Stars defenders rolling around in front of her. She is unable to find a hole at the moment. Blockers being very careful to maintain this pack integrity, but she steps on up now. A big 1 foot hop up past the last defender to take lead jammer. Power Pout number 11. Millie has the stash. She manages to keep away from that hot lava on the inside. On 1 foot she gets through. That's an initial pass for her. Power Pout says, no, I'll take these 4 and call it off. One blocker apiece in the penalty box. A sunny onslaught for the Death Stars and 64 Boss Whedon for the Assassins. So 3 apiece in front of the jammer line. Minky and Liz Williams, the jammers that will be trying to take advantage. Minky getting in on the blocking action there, preventing Liz Williams from making any progress, and then she just steps on around her own wall to get through for lead jammer. Liz heading way back down towards the camera here as she's recycled back away from the jammer line. And all the work to be done by the Death Stars jammers today to get past these super wide, slippery defenders of the Assassins. 227, a carnivore for the Assassins in the penalty box there now as well. The jam comes to an end and Minky calls it off. 5 more points for the Assassins, 8 for the Northside Rollers. 10 minutes left to play in the half. Jump on the socials and look at hashtag TGSS2016. You can have a look at all of the posts from everybody here and keep an eye on the progress. The quarterfinal positions are starting to be filled, and you can keep your eye on who's going to be playing who in the games from this afternoon. Moody Bitch and Paretta Blaze jamming at the moment. Nice safe reset there by Moody Bitch on the outside. Tried to get dragged back. That was Sunny Onslaught, and she's been pinged for a cutting the track penalty. Or it could have been a forearms penalty. So Paretta Blaze, number 31 for the Melbourne Northside Rollers. Death Stars is your lead jammer. And now's the opportunity to pick up some points, and a big hit to the outside. Baby Betty being knocked into her own jammer by Slayer Kinney. She's going to have to stop and go back on the track. Trying to get some offensive help there now. Bioweapon, Baby Betty and Sunny Onslaught trying to help the jammer through.
Still going back.
Paretta not quite sure how far she had to go back there. Just called back onto the track. Lots of skaters on the sidelines helping with the coaching. Paretta able to add 3 points to that one. So we're going to have a team timeout called by Sydney. So they've got a minute to catch their breath and reset and talk about what they're going to be doing. Talk some more about how they're going to break up this defence of the Northside Rollers and make it that much easier for their jammers to get through. Cinnamon Whip, bench coach for the Northside Rollers, comes over to have a chat with her team on the track there. Gives them a chance to catch their breath as well. So De Clinic is another major sponsor of this event. They've got a shop here in Curry Street in Adelaide. So if you're in town, you can go and visit them there, or you can enjoy free delivery on all online orders Australia-wide. De Clinic loves roller derby, and they've got all your derby needs. That's DaClinic, DAKLINIC.com online. And you're seeing and listening to us today from the Adelaide Showgrounds on equipment supplied by BSS Light Audio Visual. Sale, hire and installation of audio, visual and lighting systems for all commercial and domestic applications, including functions and conferences. So the Death Stars managed to ice Moody Bitch in the penalty box, so Miss Millie will be taking the power start this time. And it'll be one of the first times we see a different jamming lineup between both these teams. Millie, big hits at the front of that pack. Moody Bitch is back from the penalty box, so it's going to be a race through the pack to see who gets out first for lead. Millie pushed to the outside. She has to yield a couple of spots, gets back on safely. Moody Bitch is across the inside now and sticks those toe stops on the inside tape. She's the lead jammer. Millie rips off the star cover. Just knocked to the outside again. That's 53. Juicy Vengeance taking her out there. She's able to get back in as their skates have headed out of bounds as well. Low blow Oreo, the other skater involved in that hit. So she is clear. It's an initial pass for Miss Millie. Moody Bitch clears, picking up 4 points. And she's going to keep a close eye on where Millie is. Millie held to 0. Moody Bitch picks up 4 more. Just at the end of that jam, Miss Millie did pass one of the Sydney blockers, but she was off the track at the time, so unable to pick up any points for that one. But now we see Power Pout wrapping herself around Liz Williams at the start of this next jam.
The Sydney pivot still in the penalty box. You have to join her, mate.
Liz don't care. She's just casually standing there, taking that wrap around. But now she's going to take off and push up the middle against this Assassin's defence.
With baby Biddy Sunny.
Fitzy going to get in there and give her some offensive support. Try and break up that defensive shape. Pout stepping sideways through the last of those defenders, picks up lead. Liz Williams has to pick herself up on the outside of the track, careful not to get that skate inbounds. As she does so, she's got the star cover off now. Power Pout scoring and steps on through for all 5. Liz Williams has handed the star cover off to Baby Biddy now. She's wearing the pivot cover this time and has the star in her hand, but she is firmly wrapped up by the Assassins at the moment. Power Pout through one more time. Biddy's out of the pack. It's an initial for her, and she is the jammer now for the Death Stars. Sunny Onslaught being held at the back by these strong defenders from the Assassins. She gets on through, picks up a couple more, 3 more out of it for Power Pout as she calls that one off. And another scoreless jam for the Northside Rollers.
Jam 19.
So lots of short, sharp jams. Jam 19 already in this first half. A little bit of track repair happening between jams. And Minky and Pirata Blaze will be taking this next jam. Spank Alley penalty box empty of players at the moment. Pirata firmly into the back of that defensive wall at the front there for the Assassins. Minky held up at the moment. Don't usually see her held up this long by these 3 defenders at the back. Suspender just bringing one of the blockers back. That's Boss Whedon having to give up on her defence for the moment. And now Minky being recycled back behind Bella Bomber. Pirata Blaze is on the outside of the track. Slayer Kinney just dragging her back. Minky is out. Those blockers go out of play at the front, and she is the lead jammer. Pirata still to make an initial. Slayer Kinney taking her back again. There's a penalty in here somewhere, and it's Minky. She's been issued a back block penalty, so she'll be heading off to the penalty box. Not in any rush to get there. Pirata Blaze still struggling to get through on an initial pass. Getting heaps of assistance now from her blockers. Suspender, KO, Bella Bomber, Akaramov all coming in to give her some assistance through the pack. And now Pirata's been given a forearms penalty. Unfortunately, not noticing that she'd been given the penalty as she made her way past the penalty box. So all the way around the outside again. Minky is standing now, so it'll be at least a 20-second penalty for Pirata to serve in the box. Bella Bomber separated from a defensive wall, waiting for Minky to come back to the track. Minky rejoins. There's a penalty issued somewhere, 64. That's Boss Whedon heading off to the penalty box, as is Bella Bomber. Minky, very upright skating style, skating through this middle of this pack at the moment. Suspender, the last defender out at the front, trying to get her off on the outside, unable to do so. 53, Juicy Vengeance bridging out there. Another 5 for the Assassins. We're going to see Peggy Spew issued a high block penalty just at the changeover here, so she'll skate off to the Spank Alley penalty box, and one of the blockers will come off for the Assassins. So 2 in the bin for the Assassins, 1 for the Death Stars. 3.5 minutes left in the half. Moody Bitch and Miss Millie taking on this jam. I can just see some of the tape starting to lift on one of the cracks in the concrete here as well, in between the jammer line and the pivot line. Both jammers clear of the pack now. Pack moving backwards to meet them, and a big impact as Moody Bitch hits the back of Bioweapon and calling it off there. She's picked up 2. Manages to hold Millie scoreless one more time.
They are high-fiving her way onto the track.
Just going to see a couple of refs attend to that 3M tape malfunction.
We've got the officials just touching up the track there.
And we're going to go into an official timeout to give those guys some time to finish that off. Hellcat Clothing, a silver level sponsor here at TGSS this year. If you want athletic roller derby gear but still want to be individual, Hellcat Clothing has you covered. Hellcat makes comfy, fun derby clothing and unique team uniforms, customised and personalised roller derby shorts, leggings and workout gear, custom made with love and passion, right here in Australia. Hellcat Clothing for on and off the track.
Power Pout and Liz Williams, the jammer lineup for this one. Liz gets around her own ball, engages with the Assassin defence. Power Pout just skates on around those blockers. She is not lead jammer, that is Liz Williams.
I think she is just as surprised as anybody that happened, but she is out and the lead jammer. Power Pout yet to make an initial pass. Wrapped up by these Death Stars defenders at the moment. Suspender chasing her down at the front. She's clear now. Liz, meanwhile, yet to pass any hips. Manages to get past some now. She's amongst the scoring, calling it off. Some points on the board. It's 1 for Liz Williams, added to the Death Stars total, and the Assassins scoreless for that jam.
Points to the Melbourne.
Minute and a half left to play in this half. Minky, number 88 for the Sydney Roller Derby League Assassins, and 31 Pirata Blaze for Melbourne Northside Rollers Death Stars. Minky just taking the push with Pirata to the outside. Minky steps out and has to step back in behind Bioweapon. Slayer Kinney giving some offensive support to Minky. She just gets pushed off on the inside, able to recycle.
Forcing Minky back around.
Now there's a big hit to the inside. Minky has to re-engage with all 4 of the Death Stars defenders, but gets out to be a lead jammer.
Pirata gets the star off and hands it to Bioweapon, who puts on some speed to get away from the pack. That's an initial for her. Minky's going to get amongst the points.
And you can hear the communication from the track, just being told to call as she hits the pack, picks up 2.
144 points to Sydney Roller Derby League.
35 seconds left in the period. 12 points to the Northside Rollers, 144 to the Sydney Roller Derby League. Moody Bitch 2 and 6 in black and red for the Assassins, and Millie in the green and black for the Death Stars. Miss Millie pushes up the middle, digs in and drives that line forwards, unable to break on through yet. Moody Bitch still wrapped up at the back behind Bella Bomber. This time she goes for the outside. Millie on the outside now, pushing and pushing. Both jammers as yet unable to get through. Couple more green blockers head up to the front. No pack is called. They have to let Moody Bitch go, and she's lead.
Yeah, that was not quite 30 seconds, but that was solid.
Got a pack penalty issued in there on KO as well. Failure to reform. KO just getting a big happy birthday shout as she makes her way off to the penalty box. It's her birthday. A couple of the Death Stars having their birthdays here today. Moody Bitch 216 strolls on through for another 5 points. Millie up the front against Karmavor, and Karmavor taken out by Akaramov. Millie still has to go back behind. Juicy Vengeance and Karmavor making sure Millie's wrapped on up in there. Suspender taking Moody Bitch out on the inside, sending Moody for a roll across her hips, but she's through for another 5-point pass. Period clock has expired. Another half a minute left to go on the jam clock. Pack picks up a little bit of speed there. Millie's still tangled up in that pack. A big hit to the inside again. She'll have to go backwards some more. Moody 5 more. KO comes with some offensive help. And the star pass successful off now. Bella Bomber number 52 for the Death Stars has the star. Millie resumes the blocking duties. KO unable to prevent Moody from getting through for another 5. She's calling 4 more points added that time. That's going to be half time. Melbourne Northside Rollers contained to just 12 points so far in this half. 163 the score for the Sydney Roller Derby League Assassins at the moment. The strength in the Assassins has been in breaking up the defence of the Death Stars blockers and just making it easier for their jammers to get through, and really wrapping up the Death Stars jammers as well, preventing them from picking up any points. We've got about a 15-minute break. We'll be back here at track 2 from TGSS 2016 real soon.
The Arius Platinum is packed with new features. Reinforced toe section. Increased toe stop clamping power. Winged truck with split cushion design for easy assembly and installation. The new Arius Platinum, performance redefined.
Has this ever happened to you? Fumbling your marker. Your marker's not working. Trying to scrub off those pesky markers in the shower. You forget your numbers and you're sent back to the bench.
Bench! Put your numbers on! Get those numbers on your arm!
Let's see that again.
I have a severe sweating problem. Before I got my Spank Alley armbands, the refs were always telling me to reapply my numbers. But now, I can stay in the game.
My Spank Alley armband's second as a rope. Now I can lock up the competition. Thanks, Spank Alley.
But wait, there's more. If you order now, you'll get not just 1, but 2 armbands. That's 1 for each of your arms.
Thanks, Spank Alley!
Spank Alley armbands. Get spanked.
The Clinic, Adelaide's skate and streetwear specialist, stocking a huge range of skateboards, longboards and cruisers, as well as scooters, streetwear and footwear, plus roller skates, inline skates and Heelys. The Clinic, 20 Curry Street in the city, open 7 days, or shop with us online.
I don't think it's nice you laughing. Now, if you apologize like I know you're going to, I might convince him that you really didn't mean it.
The area's platinum is packed with new features. Reinforced toe section. Increased toe stop clamping power. Winged truck with split cushion design for easy assembly and installation. The new Arius Platinum, performance redefined.
Has this ever happened to you? Fumbling your marker. Your marker's not working. Trying to scrub off those pesky markers in the shower. You forget your numbers and you're sent back to the bench.
Bench! Put your numbers on! Get those numbers on your arm!
Let's see that again.
I have a severe sweating problem. Before I got my Spank Alley armbands, the refs were always telling me to reapply my numbers. But now, I can stay in the game.
My Spank Alley armband's second as a rope. Now I can lock up the competition. Thanks, Spank Alley!
But wait, there's more. If you order now, you'll get not just one, but 2 armbands. That's one for each of your arms.
Thanks, Spank Alley!
Spank Alley armbands. Get spanked.
The Clinic, Adelaide's skate and streetwear specialist, stocking a huge range of skateboards, longboards and cruisers, as well as scooters, streetwear and footwear, plus roller skates, inline skates and Heelys. The Clinic, 20 Curry Street in the city, open 7 days, or shop with us online.
I don't think it's nice you laughing. Now, if you apologize like I know you're going to, I might convince him that you really didn't mean it.
The Arius Platinum is packed with new features. Reinforced toe section. Increased toe stop clamping power. Winged truck with split cushion design for easy assembly and installation. The new Arius Platinum, performance redefined.
Has this ever happened to you? Fumbling your marker. Your marker's not working. Trying to scrub off those pesky markers in the shower. You forget your numbers and you're sent back to the bench.
Bench! Put your numbers on! Get those numbers on your arm!
Let's see that again.
I have a severe sweating problem. Before I got my Spank Alley armbands, the refs were always telling me to reapply my numbers. But now, I can stay in the game.
My Spank Alley armband's second as a rope. Now I can lock up the competition. Thanks, Spank Alley!
But wait, there's more. If you order now, you'll get not just one, but 2 armbands. That's one for each of your arms.
Thanks, Spank Alley!
Spank Alley armbands. Get spanked.
The Clinic, Adelaide's skate and streetwear specialist, stocking a huge range of skateboards, longboards and cruisers, as well as scooters, streetwear and footwear, plus roller skates, inline skates and Heelys. The Clinic, 20 Curry Street in the city, open 7 days, or shop with us online.
I don't think it's nice you laughing. Now, if you apologize like I know you're going to, I might convince him that you really didn't mean it.
The Arius Platinum is packed with new features. Reinforced toe section. Increased toe stop clamping power. Winged truck with split cushion design for easy assembly and installation. The new Arius Platinum, performance redefined.
Has this ever happened to you? Fumbling your marker. Your marker's not working. Trying to scrub off those pesky markers in the shower. You forget your numbers and you're sent back to the bench.
Bench, put your markers on!
And we are back at Adelaide Showgrounds here. This is the Great Southern Slam 2016. We're in the Goiter Pavilion on track 2, and we are in the middle of the game between Melbourne Northside Rollers and Sydney Roller Derby League. Sydney firmly in control of this game so far, 163 points, leading the Death Stars on 12. About half a minute till we get back into this game. The quarterfinals are starting to shape up, and it looks like the winner of this game will be taking on Adelaide Roller Derby League in the quarterfinal later on tonight, which is at 7:30 Adelaide time. So if you're keeping up to date on what's happening, you might have to keep your eye out for that one. As we line up for the start in the second half, we've got a clean penalty box here on track 2. Parade Blaze will be taking on Moody Bitch for the jamming duties. My name's Bob DeQuickly, and I will be keeping you up to date on everything that's happening here throughout the remainder of this game. In the awkward pause as we wait for the jam to start. 5 seconds, here we go. The strength so far from the Assassins has been their ability to break up the defence of the Death Stars, and this time Moody Bitch steps on through to the inside. As a jammer, she has been super strong and sticking that toe stops to the inside of the tape on either side, the inside or the outside of the track. She can keep her balance and just use her core strength to pull herself back in, keep herself in bounds and keep on going. So she's through for a 5-point pass. Pirate Blaze for the Death Stars pulls the star off her head, trying to hide in the pack, make herself a little bit less of a target. Not paying off for her so far, still hanging on to that star in her hand. Moody Bitch through for another 5.
Solid racing
Unbreakable formations by the Assassins at the front here. Just coming up, getting some big hits coming through there. Moody Bitch sliding across on the floor, picks herself up, gets the indication for 5 points. Looks like Bella Bomber may have received a star pass. Just waiting to see where that star emerges. I can't see anybody with it there at the moment.
Juicy Vengeance doing the drag back on.
Looks like Parade Blaze may be in the penalty box. I can't see if she's got the star in her hand or not. So Bella Bomber number 52.
Not yet an active jammer.
Yeah, she does have the star in her hand, but she's not active yet. Cut track penalty issued to her now. Bella Bomber off to the Spank Alley penalty box. Another 5-point pass. Picked up by Moody Bitch. That's her 5th 5-point scoring pass for this jam so far. Just a couple at the front, Acker arm off and suspender, try and push her to the outside. Unable to do so, she calls it off. And so the jam ref's just going to come and have a quick look at the score, make sure everything adds up okay. Yeah, he's happy with that.
That must have been a late call there, and Bella Bomber is in the penalty box as jammer for the Northside.
Yeah, so that was a 30-point jam for Moody Bitch. Bella Bomber going to be starting this one in the penalty box as the jammer for the Death Stars. So Power Pout
ducks around by
taking the power start. Passive offense from Sydney allows Power Pout to get up amongst that Death Stars defence. Baby Biddy at the front there at the moment. Unable to be slippery enough to hang on to Power Pouts. Lander comes in, tries to wrap her up as well, but no good. Bella Bomber just trying to remove herself from the penalty box and picking up an illegal procedure as she does so. Looks like she might have been a bit eager to get away from the penalty box there, and picks up another penalty and has to sit down for another half a minute. That allows PowerPoint some more opportunities to pick up the points. A couple of scoring passes in it so far for her, and surviving a big hit there. Bioweapon launched across the track by Sunny Onslaught, unable to connect. Baby Biddy chases down on the inside. Power Pout at least forced to break stride as she makes her way through now. Another 5-point pass. And that super strong offensive support by Peggy Spew and Low Blow Oreo, just allowing their jammer to come on through. Bella's wheels on the outside of the track. She's able to get back into it though. Baby Biddy's heading off to the Spank Alley penalty box for a high block. That was that hit on, might have been Carnivore that took that hit to the head. Power Pout, meanwhile, another 5 points. Stationary Pack as she reapproaches. Sunny Onslaught heading off to the to the penalty box there as well. So Bella Bomber has made her way back onto the track and completed the star pass to Bioweapon, but she's been penalised for a cut track. So Melbourne Northside Rollers as yet unable to make any progress with their jammers so far in the last couple of jams. Bioweapon will be starting the next jam in the penalty box as the jammer, and a fully loaded penalty box for the Northside Rollers with Slander and Sunny Onslaught in there also. Peggy Spew, the only blocker for the Assassins in there at the moment. So you've got to think that Minky's going to have it a little bit easy getting past these couple of defenders at the front. Akaramov and Suspender. Quickly pushed to the outside by the Assassins defenders. Minky steps on through. Akaramov and Suspender just trying to reform at the back, unable to do so. Minky turns on around and skates through backwards for that 5 points. Sunny able to make her way back onto the track and try and shut down this scoring pass by Minky. This time Sars is going to be ruled out of play when she made that connection, so Minky able to keep on skating through for all 5.
The big dirty nerd, I have to say, I'm very much appreciating incredibly calm.
So Sars heads off to the bin. Minky out for another 5. 53, the captain for the Assassins, Juicy Vengeance, also heading off to the Spank Alley penalty box. The pack has some time to reset, and a solid ball of skaters meets Minky as she comes back in. Bioweapon back from the bin now and able to make her way through the defence, and that's an initial pass for her.
Sunny heads to the bin for a penalty.
So Minky skates on through for another pass. Peggy Spew being sent off to the penalty box. Mr. Spew, the bench coach, just calling the blockers to the front, hoping to prevent Bioweapon from picking up any points. Unsuccessfully, she adds 4 to the Death Stars total. And the crowd here celebrating whatever points the Death Stars can get at the moment. Takes them to 16, 241. The score for Sydney at the moment.
There was a bit of confusion there. I'm trying to work that out as well.
So Juicy Vengeance and Mr. Spew just asking some questions of the ref about some of the positions at the end of the last jam. They think there might have been maybe a failure to reform there somewhere with the spread out pack. But now we're going to have an official timeout, and they're going to have a chat about it in the middle. Cove Print been the suppliers of all the brochures and banners that you see around the TGSS venue here at the Adelaide Showgrounds. So thank you for providing all of TGSS's printing needs. Just seeing Slayer Kinney just returning to the track from the penalty box, which means that Carnivore can head back to the bench. Levi Strides on the track there now as well. So 1 left in the bin for Sydney, that's Peggy Spew, and 1 in the bin for the Northside Rollers as well. So three apiece in front. Moody Bitch is the jammer for the Assassins. She's out first to be lead jammer. Miss Millie just being brought back all the way to the jammer line. Comes in just in front of Peggy Spew, who rejoins from the penalty box, but joins that defence there. Aiming to keep Miss Millie away from progress through the pack. And they've managed to push her off on the outside. Not quite quick enough to keep the skates outside, and she's cut the track.
Northside jammer Millie.
Moody picks up another 5. And we see the Northside defenders getting split up by these Assassins blockers again. Bellabomber and Sunny Onslaught trying to prevent Moody from getting through. She skates around them. Still got a couple to get past at the front. So it might be a good move from the Death Stars blockers here to split themselves up, give that Assassin's Jammer a couple of targets to have to get through. They roll around the front now. KO with a big hit into Bellabomber. And Akaramov calls off the jam, adds 4 more. And Miss Millie stuck in the penalty box. She is standing.
With Sydney now on 250 points. Melbourne Northside Rollers still on 16 points with 21 minutes gone.
Both teams a full force, a set of 4 blockers in front of the jammer. Power Pout, the only jammer on the track for the Sydney Roller Derby League. Miss Millie, the only occupant of the Spank Alley penalty box right here. She is standing. It won't be long till she's back on the track where she heads now. Power Pout just wanted to get past Fitzy at the front, and she does so. Lead jammer. And it looks like Baby Biddy is heading around the outside to the penalty box. Big jump across there. Power Pout picks up all 5 in grand style. Miss Millie still wrapped up here at the moment. No pivot to hand the star off to at the moment either. Power Pout sails on by. 5 more points. Assassins.
5-point pass.
Carnivore for Sydney heading to the bin there as well. Millie looking determined as she tries to push up the middle of these blockers. But that triangle not giving an inch here at the moment. And a stop block there awarded now. Looks like Chewy is heading off to the penalty box for that stop block. Gives Millie the moment she needs to break on through, but it's an initial for her. PowerPoint scoring again. Pulls herself up off the floor. And calling it from her knees on the outside of the track. Millie prevented from adding any to the total of the Northside Rollers. Two blockers will start this one in the penalty box. That's Carnivore and Chewy for Sydney Roller Derby League. Minky, they're doing the jamming for them. She'll be looking to push through this strong 4 wall of the Death Stars at the moment.
A little bit of jammer defense.
A little bit of jammer defense. Just pushes Liz out to the outside. Carnivore back on track as the pivot for the Assassins. Liz finds an opening and almost steps on through a big hit to the inside. She hits the ground hard, and that's going to be a penalty for Slayer Kinney. Not moving in the right direction as she does, as she makes that hit. But Minky is the lead jammer one more time. Liz survives that chase down at the front by Carnivore, and she's out of the pack as well. But we'll see Minky amongst the pack now, looking to pick up whatever points she can, and calling off the jam as she gets those hips in front. Jammer ref Skatespear holds up the 3. And we're going to have an official timeout.
We've got Moody Bitch for Sydney.
As the skaters change around, Moody Bitch is moving behind the jammer line for the Assassins.
Just a quick...
And we're in an official timeout as we sort out some paperwork.
Penalties, making sure that...
Got to keep track of the things and make sure all of the stuff is in order. Cinnamon Whip just again having a quick chat to Roger Jamjet as well, asking some questions about some of the decisions. Find out what's going on.
About where the after party is. I can tell you where the after party is. The after party will be...
Lots of spectators around the outside of this track here now, some of them protecting their bums from the cold, hard concrete floor of the Adelaide Showgrounds on the bum boxes available from the TGSS merch area and provided by Vizzy Boxes and more. They'll soon turn into quite the collector's item from TGSS, I imagine. They're all printed up with TGSS 2016.
They have Radar, the Radar booth. You can register to win a free...
One of the main sponsors of the TGSS this year is Rydell Skates. They're the sponsor of the penalty box on track 1. But importantly, they're also the sponsor of the after party. The after party here at the Showgrounds this year is being held at the Rydell High. It's an 80s themed school prom. That's on Monday after the conclusion of all of the finals action here at TGSS 2016. So what a great reason for you to get down here to the Adelaide Showgrounds, watch all the finals and head to the after party.
Quick berries, where precision meets...
So we're still in an official timeout here at the moment. 16 points is the score for the Melbourne Northside Rollers. Sydney Roller Derby League way out in front on 272. 18 3/4 minutes left to play in this game.
The Great Southern Slam, for 6 years now, every second year, they put on an amazing show. We love them very much for it. From 22...
And the official timeout. We've got, looks like penalty trackers. We're just making sure that all the penalties match what the paperwork says. Skaters on track now, moving around, trying to keep a little bit warm and limber as this official timeout extends a little bit. Plenty of other roller derbies still happening around this venue as well. There are 5 tracks in all here at the Adelaide Showgrounds. 4 in this very room in the Goiter Pavilion. I'm going to have a look at one of the challenge bouts here on track 4 at the moment. Wonder Woman versus Batgirl. Wonder Woman currently leading 153 to 105. Just some of the other action going on here today.
There's been some rumours knocking around.
Most of the games here will be uploaded. You can watch them on YouTube, either live on tracks 1 and 2, or all the other tracks will be uploaded for your enjoyment at any time. So if you're watching this next week, hi. You could have watched it live, but next week is fine as well. I'll tell you what, there is some careful checking of this penalty tracking happening at the moment. Just communicating with the officials, between the officials and the referees. All officials on or off skates. Making a great contribution to this whole event this weekend. Over 80 games, well, 80 games need officiating this weekend over the 3 days. So all of the officials on skates or otherwise doing heaps of work. And we're back to the roller derby. So we're going to have Moody Bitch and Pirate Blaze jamming. Going for a running start as both defensive lineups are right up on the pivot line. Nobody clear of the pack yet. There is a multiplayer block being issued somewhere, and that's on Bioweapon for the north side. The blockers at the front here, trying to keep close enough to the pack. Bridged out by Fitzy now. Biddy have to let Moody Bitch go. And she is the lead jammer for the Assassins. Just checking that she still had the star in her head after that bit of a fight through the pack. Piretta now, a couple to get past at the front. Baby Biddy coming in for some offensive support. But more Assassins blockers rolling around in front. And not going to open that door. Moody Bitch back through the pack for another 5 points. Pirate Blaze clear at last. It's an initial for her. We'll start to see Moody Bitch keeping an eye on where the opposing jammer is. She gets on through for another 4 points and calls it off. So it's a 9-0 jam. That one in favour of the Assassins. Takes the Assassins to 281. Northside Rollers still on 16.
17 minutes.
Back on track, the matchup of Power Pout and Miss Millie. Carnivore in the penalty box for the Assassins. They've just got the 3 blockers on track. 4 in front of them. The line-up across the track for the Death Stars. Millie pushing against that inside line, managing to keep her skates inbound. Power Pout unable to find a hole through now as well. Millie wrapped up again by those blockers. Power Pout around the outside, puts on the speed. She's the lead jammer. Millie having to escape back in behind some blockers. One heading out.
Millie is out as well.
Looks like Low Blow Oreo might have thought she'd been given a penalty. Just called back onto the track from the outside. Power Pout's through for a scoring pass. Picks up 4 in that one. And she's going to call it off. An empty penalty box. We got 4 apiece in front. 5-on-5 roller derby, as they say. 73, Liz Williams taking on the jamming for the Death Stars, and 88, Minky for the Assassins. Whistle's blown. Nobody's moving anywhere yet. The Assassin's wall opens up and lets Minky through. Liz Williams tries to step through the same door, but it is closed firmly in her face. She gets back amongst it now. Skaters down, Slanders on the ground. Minky strides on through, picks up lead. Bioweapon off to the penalty box. Some more skaters down on the far side of the track. Liz Williams knocked to the ground, having to pick herself up again and start her progress through the pack again. Minky's amongst the points now in her scoring pass. Chewy's off to the penalty box for the Assassins. Mr. Spew just calling his blockers to the front and calling for his jammer to watch where the opposing jammer is. She hits her own pack. And Minky not going to call it off yet. Obviously preparing to do so. Told to just chill for a moment. Maybe burning that penalty in the penalty box for Chewy. Liz has got some points ready to go as soon as she makes her way through this pack. But Minky, meanwhile, skates on through, picks up more points, and is back at the pack again already, ready to go for some more. So Liz Williams adds those 4 points onto the total now for the Death Stars. Minky, meanwhile, on the far side of the track, saying hi to the spectators, calls it off from her back. And some acrobatics to get back up again. 14.5 minutes to play. Moody Bitch, Pirate Blaze, behind the jammer line. In saying that, I'm not describing Pirate Blaze as a Moody Bitch. That's the name of 2 very separate skaters, and they both approach their defensive lines at the moment. KO just connects with Moody, but she steps out herself. Moody able to step back onto the track in front and rolls around the inside of KO this time, picks up lead. A cut track is issued for KO. She'll skate all the way around the outside of the track to the Spank Alley penalty box. And a big hit to the outside. Piretta knocked to the floor and having to head back and come in behind that pack. Akaramov heading to the penalty box. Piretta Blaze almost able to make some progress through the pack, but just taken out to the inside. Her skates cross the line and she has to yield her position. Moody another 5. Suz chasing her down at the front but unable to connect. Piretta Blaze is going to wait at the back for Moody to re-enter, try and give some defense as well, but one leg skating on 1 foot gets her through. Pirate Blaze has the star off her head now. She's handed it to Bella Bomber, who is firmly tied up in the middle of this assassin scrum at the moment, but it allows Moody Bitch through on the outside. Bella Bomber finally pushes past. She has the star in her hand, pulls it on. That's an initial pass for the Northside Rollers. But Moody, if anything, has great awareness of where her opposing jammer is. And we'll get on through here. Watching where Bella is, calls it off as she's pushed off on the outside by Piretta Blaze. Picks up 3 more. Northside scoreless again. 20 points for the Northside Rollers, 321 for Sydney Roller Derby League.
Yeah, I'm going to go out there and say, Northside have done plenty of star passes this game.
And that's going to be a team timeout called by Black. The Cinnamon Whip just in the middle of having a chat to the officials. She's going to go and have a chill with her teamies up near the pivot line. This team timeout, I can mention a couple of more of our sponsors. Haig's Chocolate, thank you to those guys for feeding the officials. The 80 games over 3 days, those guys need a bit of a sugar hit every now and then. And PhysioFit, the official physio provider to the Adelaides, they've been here and doing a rip-roaring trade this week. Lots of massages and acupressure therapies and heaps of skaters and officials getting some love there as well. So it's enough time for the timeout, says the jam timer. A little bit of track repair happening on the far side of the track as we speak, so we may continue our official timeout a little bit longer,
in Australia.
or we might have enough time.
Floating for on and off the track.
Tape gets put away. Miss Millie and Power Pout, the jammers behind the line.
Millie taking the line.
No one in the penalty box. Power Pout steps across the inside, engages with the Death Stars blockers at the front. Power Pout is the lead jammer, and Baby Biddy heading off for a back block penalty to the Spank Alley penalty box. Miss Millie just wrapped up on the outside, escorted there by Slayer Kinney.
For a natural grand slam.
Natural Grand Slam awarded to Power Pout there, picks up the jammer lap point. Miss Millie's handed the star cover off to Bioweapon. Bioweapon receiving a few star passes today, able to put on some speed at the front of the pack and complete an initial for the Death Stars. Power Pout says, that's enough though, no points for you, I'm going to call it off.
Getting her the points, getting her out, and getting the jam done.
And it looks like the Assassins really want that jam line position. Minky jumping in and reserving that position, even though she's the jammer for this one. Liz Williams joining her behind the line.
Side up down one blocker. Sydney at the
North side down a blocker. Baby Biddy sitting in the penalty box. Official timeout to fix some tape on the side of the track. So much tape used here this weekend. 5 tracks, all with multiple layers of tape, needing repair and laying and textures.
played up to 5 games a day.
What?
Yeah, up to I know if a fan had done 5, I'd be really impressed to hear if I
So still plenty of roller derby left to play in this game. Just over 11 minutes left to go in this one. Northside Rollers on a 20 points at the moment, 330, a significant lead to the Sydney Roller Derby League Assassins.
We'll sort you out. Please look after yourself.
Tape repairs are complete. 5 seconds is called.
And your twists and turns.
And we're back to the roller derby. Liz looking up the inside. She's just manages to stumble across the legs of one of those defenders, so she gets pulled back into the pack. Minky, meanwhile, able to push her way through. Lead jammer for the Assassins once again. Liz tied up in that pack, being held at the back. Looking for Bella Bomber to get the star pass off, but unable to meet up with her at the moment. And smoothly around the outside now. That's an initial pass done for Liz. Minky once again unwilling to concede any points, picks up the 4 and calls it off.
Booty bitch lining up the Sydney edges.
So the penalty box is a bear. Pirata Blaze and Moody Bitch behind the line, wearing the stars. The Assassins right up on that jammer line at the start of this one. Levi Strides taking the middle position. Juicy Vengeance and Levi Strides wrap up that blocker straight off the line. Moody Bitch is out first to be the lead jammer. And a big hit to the outside, almost ending up in the lap of some fans there. Pirata Blaze on turn 2. Plenty of onesies here in the crowd as well. It is Onesie Sunday here at TGSS. Blocky Balboa heads to the penalty box for Sydney. Bioweapon, the pivot for the Death Stars, has the star cover in her hand. Unable to survive those hits, but does so now. Levi Strides the last to get a hit on her. Moody Bitch says, no points for you, Death Stars. Calls it off. Takes it out to 338 for Sydney. Say 318 point lead.
I'm really admiring how Sydney are just taking those short jams, chipping away, getting 4 points, 9 points.
Yeah, lots of short jams in this half as well, just the same as we saw in the first half. Up to 13 jams already in this second half, still with 8 3/4 minutes left to play. Power Pout and Miss Millie, the jammers for this one.
7-8 Millie for Northside. And
Blocky Balboa standing in the penalty box, ready to return to the track for Sydney. Does so now and rejoins the defence.
Third position and getting through.
Power Pout, lead jammer. Millie still bailed up in the middle of that pack at the moment. Power Pout goes around the outside of her. Millie has the star off her head. She'll be looking for support from her blocker, which is Bella Bomber. Baby Bitty back from the penalty box now as well. Power Pout has already picked up a scoring pass.
Baby Bitty rejoins her mates on track.
And another one through on the inside, virtually unopposed as the Death Stars defenders try and give their jammers some support to get through. Miss Millie, a big hit down on the inside there. That's Carnivore. That's going to be a bruise. Power Pout to the outside. Baby Bitty and KO got her wrapped up here at the moment. Suspender and Bella Bomber tying her up there, unable to avoid the multiplayer block penalty. Baby Bitty heading to the Spank Alley penalty box. Miss Millie had the star off, dropped it in the giving of it to Bella Bomber, but she was able to pick it up again and continues on. Clear of the pack. That is a tough initial pass after a minute and a half of this jam for Miss Millie. Power Pout calling off the jam. It is all about the points differential here for the Assassins at the moment. 357, a lead of 337 over the Death Stars 20.
Things are definitely cooling down here. The late showgrounds. I'm starting to get frosty.
And this lineup is going to see Minky and Liz Williams doing the jamming. Minky smoothly around the outside, a bit of a shove out of the way to those blockers as she does so. She's the lead jammer. It's nearly 5:30 here in the afternoon here in Adelaide, local time. The temperature starts to drop as the sun goes away. That makes these tracks a little bit slipperier for these skaters as well, especially as they get around the apexes of these turns at speed. Those skates starting to lose a little bit of the grip that they have on this concrete. Northside managed to complete the star pass once again there, so Bioweapon has ended up receiving the star pass and having the jam called off on her again. Clean penalty box. I mean that there's all 10 skaters on the track. Moody Bitch and Pirata Blaze, the jammers that are trying to get past those blockers. Akaram off KO and Bella Bomber able to hold Moody Bitch a little bit longer this time. She sticks those toe stops to the inside of the tape and steps on through again and finds the gap. So Pirata has gone for a stash of the star cover, but still tied up in these defenders at the moment. Bella Bomber, her pivot up there with her. The star cover falls to the floor. Pirata Blaze has to pick it up again. 5 more points picked up meanwhile by Moody. And it is a slow-moving, scrappy scrum on the far side of the track. Still no Northside jammer to pop out the front. It looks like Bella Bomber has received the star pass now. She turns off a hit there. Finds some way on the inside. Pushing. Her skates are off the track. She managed to get back in behind. And she does so. And a big hit to the inside there on Moody Bitch as she makes her way through. And for one of the few times this game, she has to yield back behind the pack. Bella Bomber clear of the pack. Pulling the star on. Moody has control. She's going to call it off, skating along on the infield. Hasn't taken any strides though, so she's legally allowed to do so. Under 4.5 minutes left to go. It has been quite some jams since Northside have been able to add to their score. Still on 20, 350 points the lead. Millie just turning around and giving a kiss to the camera. She's lining up against Power Pout. Millie's just going to drive up the middle, try and find a hole in this defence, but that bracing just too strong for any of these Death Stars block jammers to get through today. Power Pout just destroys the defence at the front and comes on through to be lead jammer, and a quick, speedy star pass off to Bioweapon. gets her out of the pack as well. Pow Pout will hit it. Presumably she will quit it before any points are conceded. That's been the pattern so far, and it is once again now. 4-0 the points in that jam. Mr. Spew just having some concerns there with Roger Jamjet, the head ref. Couple in the bin for Northside. Akaramov and Sunny Onslaught starting in the penalty box. Leaves just the two blockers on track to try and assist Liz Williams through and prevent Minky from getting through. But straight away, with only two blockers on the track and straight up with the O, Minky strings him out in front and just waits till they go out of play. Turns around and skates off his lead jammer. As she makes her way back now, she's just knocked to the inside now. KO connecting with that hit, and she has to come back behind KO and Akaramov. So another star pass now. Bella Bomber in receipt of the star again. Minky amongst the scoring pass now. Listening for the call to call it as she does so on the outside. Takes one last hit from Akaramov. And 3 points. Almost down to the last 2 minutes. Pirate Ablaze pulls on the star for the Northside Rollers, and Moody Bitch jamming one more time for the Assassins. Both teams fully loaded in front of the jammer line. Moody Bitch has been strong on those tape lines so far. Sticky toe stops indeed. And she uses those, digs in on the inside, skates around the outside. Lead jammer, Moody Bitch for the Assassins. Piretta's pulled the star off, steps on across the inside. Alex Van Dorn forced to pick up the pace to keep up as she takes off. She is not lead. Moody's going to make it on through and call it after the 4.
With all their blockers on track.
Northside, one in the bin. Sunny Onslaught, number 5 for the Death Stars, waiting in there.
With number 7-8, Millie jamming for Northside.
Full deck in front of Miss Millie there. Levi Strides, Blocky Balboa, Juicy Vengeance, all waiting for Millie to try and blast on through. She's going to try and use power to get there. Power Pout's just going to step on through whatever gap she can find. Power Pout looking to the bench there to see if she's going to call it off with only 35 seconds left on the period clock. It's as if she wanted to go for another jam, but she's made it through, picks up the jammer point. Millie has the star helmet cover in her hand. Unable to survive that pass through the pack. She makes it through now. Not lead, and Power Pout heading off to the penalty box. So Miss Millie, not lead jammer, is going to play out the rest of this game as the only jammer on track until Power Pout comes on back. So she'll really be looking for some offensive help from her blockers here at the moment. Not finding it so far. Millie survives that. That was a close call on the inside. Picks up 4, maybe 5. Picks up 5. That's a grand slam for Miss Millie. Power Pout in the penalty box. Goes for a jump across the apex and lands at 5 more for Miss Millie. Getting some love from her bench and the crowd here in track 2 at the Adelaide Showgrounds as we count down the jam timer to end this game. 45 seconds left on the clock. Power Pout coming back to it now. Miss Millie tries to push up the inside. Sunny Onslaught trying to wrap around in front of Power Pout there. There is no lead. We will play out until the jam timer calls it off. Couple of skaters down at the back of the pack now. Miss Millie's progress has been slowed in the pack. Power Pout back again for another scoring pass. It's all about the differential for these guys now. And a high block for Power Pout. Back to the penalty box. Millie jumps around the last defender there in Juicy Vengeance and picks up 5 more points for the Northside Rollers. Miss Millie almost single-handedly doubling the Northside Rollers points. Goes for the jump across. 0-5 called for a low block as the jam commences. No more points added by Millie. One of those skates was on the outside of the track. The unofficial final score, just waiting to see if any more points are indicated.
391 to Sydney Rollers.
Miss Millie, the star jammer at the end of that one for the Melbourne Northside Rollers. Another 5 points added for that last pass. Miss Millie single-handedly doubling the Melbourne Northside Rollers score in that last jam. They were on 20. She scored 20. So they go to 40 as we go into the unofficial final. Waiting for the rolling whistle to make it final.
91 points. Melbourne Northside Rollers.
But definitely the Sydney Roller Derby League Assassins, massive winners in this one. 351 points the lead as it is made official. 391 points, beating the Northside Rollers Death Stars. A sizable crowd here at Track 2 at the Goyder Pavilion here at the Adelaide Showgrounds, celebrating what has been a tough fourth game for both of these teams. But the Assassins, massive winners, 391. And I'm pretty sure, yet to be confirmed, but I'm pretty sure that they will be taking on Adelaide Roller Derby. The Adelaide is here in the quarterfinal for this Division 1. Heaps more roller derbies still to come. The Death Stars getting some love from some of the Victorian and Tasmanian skaters as they make their way around the track for their lap.
This is Starbucks.
Once again, the Assassins, massive winners here. 351 points, the difference. I've been Bob de Quickly. Thank you very much for joining me. Still heaps and heaps of roller derby to come from the Adelaide Showgrounds right here, right now.